Xavier University Television Studio, this is Xavier News. Your campus, your region, your world. This is Xavier News.
Good afternoon, Xavier Musketeers. Today is November 11th, 2022. I'm Alexa Cruiser.
And I'm Anthony Frederickson. Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. This is Xavier News.
The God of War franchise released its newest edition, God of War Ragnarok, on Wednesday. This action-adventure video game has been highly anticipated by fans of the franchise and gaming industry. It serves as the first competitor against Elden Ring for 2022's Game of the Year. Since its release, the game has received stellar reviews from critics and fans.
The Republican Party filed lawsuits this week to disqualify thousands of mail-in ballots for swing states. They are aiming to encourage more citizens to vote in person if they are able to. The Supreme Court of Pennsylvania agreed with the Republican Party that election officials should not count ballots without a date on them, even if they arrive before Election Day. This alone has caused thousands of ballots to be discarded.
Did you vote on Tuesday? Lauren McAllister talks to Xavier students about their voting experience.
Vote in this past election?
Yes.
Why did you vote?
I think it's important, no matter where your beliefs fall, it's important to vote either way. I know that there are a lot of different reasons why people can't vote, but if you actively chose not to vote, then I don't think that you should be upset about the results.
So I decided to vote in this past election just to make sure I was representing the state I'm from and fulfilling my civic duties. I did vote. I sent in a mail-in ballot because I'm from Pennsylvania.
I feel like it's important to vote. Why or why not?
I think it's important to vote to get your voice out there and make your voice heard, and it's kind of just stupid to lay around and not make your voice heard.
I decided to vote because I don't think it's appropriate, me personally, to criticize our government without utilizing the resource that we have to partake in solutions that politicians offer to correct said problems within our country. A lot of countries don't have the opportunity to vote from their citizens, and so I think that in order to fully live in the country that I want to live in, my voice needs to be heard, and that's through voting. So,
yeah, I agree. I think that especially for me, I'm coming from a place of privilege, and it's my responsibility to use that privilege and enact systemic change where and when it needs to happen. So I think that's one reason that it's really important to vote.
I decided to vote because I think it's important to share your voice and opinions about important topics going on in the world, social issues and things like that, and it's an easy way to do that, and a small way, but has a large impact through just voting on the ballot. Did not vote. I know that this election, normally people vote in the presidential election, and this may not seem like it's as important in that way, but it really is, because there are a lot of important, specifically like people that want different laws that are kind of that may be restricting in some ways to some people and take away some rights from certain people. Specifically, I live in Kentucky, so one of the important issues that was going on that people could vote for or against was on reproductive rights for women. And I think it's important for people to share their beliefs on that through voting.
I urge you to please vote in the next elections and know that this country is what we're going to be growing up in, and what happens in it affects all of us. And if you feel that what is not being on the ballot affects you personally, please look into how it's affecting the people around you. So,
I agree with that.
The Cincinnati Zoo welcomed 3 new manatees to the pools of Manatee Springs this past weekend. The orphaned manatees were rescued off the coast of Florida last year and were sent to Zoo Tampa for treatment. These beautiful creatures are only here in Cincinnati temporarily, so make sure to pay them a visit before they release back into the wild.
With the direction that Elon Musk is taking with Twitter, several celebrities have made the decision to move to Tumblr. Tumblr is a multimedia platform that has been around since 2007. Ryan Reynolds was one of the first to make the move, and Tumblr's response was less than enthusiastic. Many Tumblr users do not care that celebrities are coming to the platform, as it is designed for open discourse and community. There is no visible follower count or verification. Users have even said they will not seek out these celebrities and instead only interact if it comes across their dashboard.
Are you a commuter? Do you have trouble parking, especially on game days? Darcy DeMay takes a deeper look into the struggles of commuter parking.
Here's the thing about parking. Ideally, everyone wants to park in the C1 parking lot because it's an incredibly convenient spot. It's like 5 minutes of walking distance from Alter, but it's always full because there's like 30 spots in that lot total. So it fills up super duper quickly. I've gotten to park there twice at my entire time at Xavier so far, which is a year and a half. So instead of C1, you have to park at C2. C2 is 10 minutes away from Alter Hall. It's super far up. It's all the way up at A.B. Cohen Center. And so even if I get to Xavier 5 minutes before class starts, I'm still going to be late because I have to walk a huge distance just to get to class. And it's really, really inconvenient, and it stresses me out because it makes it so much harder to be punctual. It really does. And it's frustrating because it feels like because I'm not paying to live here, I am at a huge disadvantage. A lot of respect for the CAB, Community Activities Board. You know, they are working hard, but in terms of the commuter lounge, it's pretty tiny, and it's not much different at all from the rest of Gallagher. And the fact that we only get one little room, whereas it feels like, you know, not in addition to their rooms, residents get a separate lounge on every floor of the building they live in. It's a little frustrating and a little disheartening. It feels like they don't really care much about the commuters, and there's just a lot of waiting around, a lot of boredom, especially in like your first year when you might not know a lot of people yet. So, sucks.
Following Elon Musk's $43 billion purchase of Twitter on October 27th, things have only gotten crazier. Musk reportedly fired over half of the company's employees and has begun to roll out changes to the social media site. This includes turning the Twitter verification process into a subscription service called Twitter Blue, costing $8 a month and implementing strict rules against the impersonation of Musk, the breaking of which resulting in the suspension from Twitter entirely. Some have criticized the hypocrisy in Musk making a point to bring free speech back to Twitter, while also being quick to suspend accounts, including the likes of comedian Kathy Griffith and YouTube personality Ethan Klein. The deal between Twitter and Musk was originally signed in April of this year, with Musk even attempting to back out of the deal and have it voided in July. However, legally, he was bound to close the deal, and now we're seeing the results.
Another midterm has come and gone. While Republicans currently have the lead over the House, this was not the red wave everyone was expecting. With the Democrats snagging 192 seats against the Republicans' 211 seats. A majority has yet to be called, though it's expected Republicans will take control of the House. Over in the Senate, Dems earned 46 seats and Republicans earned 48. A majority has yet to be called. In Ohio, Republican author and venture capitalist J.D. Vance beat Democrat Tim Ryan in the Senate race, while Democrat Greg Landsman beat Republican Steve Chabot in the congressional race. Thank you to everyone who exercised their right to vote this past Tuesday.
Actor Kevin Conroy has sadly passed away at the age of 66 after a short battle with cancer. Conroy was well known for being the predominant voice of the Batman, performing as the character in over 60 projects, including the Batman animated series, Justice League, and the critically acclaimed Arkham series of video games. In 2022, Conroy contributed to DC's Pride issue and wrote the short comic Finding Batman, an autobiographical piece about his experience as a gay man living in the 1960s and 70s, and how that inspired his performance as Batman. Conroy will live on in the hearts and minds of Batman fans everywhere. That's all from the news desk.
We will be right back with the Xavier Sports Report.
Hello everybody, my name is Drew Collins and you're watching the Sports Report. As always, let's get started with professional sports right here in the Tri-State. The Cincinnati Bengals are coming off a 42-21 blowout win to protect the jungle. Bengals running back Joe Mixon scored 5 touchdowns, breaking the franchise record for most touchdowns in a single game by any Bengals player in Bengals history. This weekend there will be no Who Days as the Bengals are sitting on their bye week at 5-4. They have an extended rest week to prepare for the division rival in the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday, November 20th at 4:25 p.m. Now let's hop into the campus sports recap this week. Xavier Hoops had their season opener on Monday night against Morgan State. They won that game a 96-73 win right here in Cintas. The offense was on fire despite turning the ball over early, and the defense looks like it could still use some improvements. Senior grad transfer Soli Boom led the team with 23 points and shot 87% from the field. My biggest question mark for Xavier Hoops moving forward, that point guard spot. I'm not entirely sold on Kiki Tandy being the starter. But nonetheless, the boys' next game is tonight versus Montana at 8 p.m. in Cintas. And let's not forget about women's hoops right here at Xavier. The ladies team opened their season up north in Miami, Ohio against the Red Hawks in a game where they would win 87-68 in a very impressive offense performance. The leading scorer was Kaylee Addy, who had 21 points coming off the bench. Oh yeah, and she's a freshman. The ladies team has been missing that spark over the last few seasons, and, well, Addy, she might be what they were missing. They also played Thursday against Detroit Mercy and finished with a score of 57-71 to start their season 2-0. Their next game is set Sunday, November 13th at 6 p.m. against St. Francis University. Now it's time for the weekend preview for Xavier Sports. Up first, let's take a look at cross country as they will participate in the NCAA Great Lakes Regional today. Both the men and women's team are coming off a 7th placement at the Big East Cross Country Championship. Volleyball takes on Seton Hall tonight at 6 p.m. right here at Cintas and hosts senior night on Sunday versus St. John's, and that will be at 1 o'clock. Women's soccer will travel to Tennessee to take on the Vols in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and this game will be played at 6 p.m. tonight. Well, that's a wrap on the Sports Report this week. Let's go X.